Hey guys, I'm Aaron, and today I'm here to tell you 5 things about shadows in SketchUp that you may not know. Sorry, it sounded confrontational, like I'm dissing you or something, but a lot of times I see people using shadows and they do something with it that makes it more difficult to work on what they're doing, or they expect something from it, or there's things that it does that they don't even have any idea about. They just click it on and off. And I just want to show you some stuff that you may want to know if you like using shadows. Let's hop in. All right, so here to start with, I got these floating design things here, and I have shadows turned on. See, shadows are turned on right here. And I can see down here that they're casting on the ground. I'm rotating. I'm expecting a smooth rotation, but it's getting a little jumpy. I got some other stuff intentionally running on my computer to slow me down. And you can see it's a little bit jumpy. It's a little janky. If I turn shadows off, that will go away. Look how smooth I'm rotating right now. So you guys know that a few versions back, we did a bunch of stuff to speed up the rendering of SketchUp, how quick it goes to the screen. The shadow engine is not part of that. This is the classic shadow engine. So there are chances that as you're modeling, you may see slowdowns if you have shadows turned on. So this is the first thing I'm going to always recommend, and I do this when I model, turn shadows off for modeling. So when you're drawing geometry and you're moving around your model a whole bunch, as I'm doing this, I don't need shadows on because it's not doing anything to help my modeling process. All it does is slow down a little bit. So generally speaking, what I'll do is I'll get finished with my modeling, and when I'm ready for shadows, then I'll come turn them on and use my UI to fine tune. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, you saw a little bit of delay here. This is just falling on the ground plane. So down here, if we expand, some people don't know this, but you can expand whether you're on Windows or Mac, you can expand the shadow settings, and you have an option for on ground. So that's hitting this invisible ground plane, right? At 0 on the blue axis, there's a pretend infinite plane, and that's what it's hitting. If I turn that off, then it's only going to hit surfaces. So if I did do something like come in here and draw a big rectangle, it'll hit that, and then it'll show the shadows there. If I bring this in like this, it's going to stop when it hits the ground plane because I said don't put it on the ground. Depending on what you're doing, and I'm creating crazy examples for this, of course, but if I grab this and I start sliding it over here, the performance of my model where it hits the ground plane versus where it overlaps onto a bunch of cut up geometry, this is going to be very, very different. So, oh, look at that lag I got going there, because it's doing, if I look at this, this is smooth geometry. There's probably thousands of faces just on the ground right here. There's another thousands of faces getting this generated. And I just want to point out that it rendering that hitting the ground versus it rendering hitting other geometry, you're more likely to see a slowdown. So that's my second thing there, is the difference between on ground versus on faces. Two very different renders are happening there, and you may see performance changes based on that. All right, let's keep moving on. Those 2 things. Let's talk about a third thing. Did you know edges, often referred to as lines by those who are not in the know, can cast shadows as well? So what's the purpose of this? Because we know that edges are just infinitely thin lines in space that have no weight, width, nothing. They're just there to define faces, really, in a 3D model. But if you want, you can actually tell them to cast shadows. So what this will do is give you the ability to, so maybe I want to represent a grid on something. I could do that with shadows rather than intersecting if I wanted, which is kind of a cool option. The other thing I could do with this is if I had something like wires and I don't want to, like telephone cables are swooping down and I want to cast a shadow of them without having to go through and do a follow me and add a bunch of geometry or bulk to that, you can do that by turning on from edges. From edges is normally turned off. So it's important you note that. You do have to expand your options down there and turn from edges on in order to generate that. One of the other things you'll notice, and this is a bonus tip, you can see as I go over here, well, you can't see anything when I go over here. Okay, there we go. There's the distance. If there's no shadows on the screen, then SketchUp doesn't have to draw them. So if you do get to the point where you start lagging with stuff like this, because I'm close up, look how laggy that is. As soon as I move back, it's going to get quicker. And as soon as I move away from seeing shadows, it's going to go back to like full speed. So as I get into detail, so right now it's pretty good, it's pretty good, it's pretty good, it's pretty good. Oh, it's slowing down. So you might see that based on what's drawn on your screen. All right, something else I want to touch on is this right here. So when we look at this, when we look at a model, there's a couple things that happen. When I have shadows turned on, the light is coming from wherever the sun is. So I can't actually see the sun ever in SketchUp, but it's there. It's there. But I can go through, and this part most people know. I can adjust the time. I can adjust the day of the year, and that's going to change the location of the sun. This is not a geolocated model. This is just a regular model, and you can see the shadow moving around. Now, what a lot of people want to do is they want this to be, so as the shadow moves around, it's going to change the lighting on my geometry, right? So as you would expect, sun's coming from this side, these two sides are in shadow, they're going to be darker than the front. Some people don't like that and want this to be all the same color despite that, and it is actually pretty easy to do. So all you got to do is play with your light and dark values here. See, 80 and 40 is what's got set at now. If I take my light all the way down, see everything becomes uniformly gray. And from there, if I take my dark and make it brighter, go to about 80, and that gives white, full white. I still have my shadows. You can still see them casting on here. Apparently not on surfaces as much. But, oh, that makes sense because all my surfaces are going to be the same color. So it's only going to hit on the ground. But whether this is on or off, because I could turn this off and then say don't cast shadows of any kind. And then I will get all uniformly colored white. So this works too. The other thing that people hit, I'm gonna put this back where it was. Some people comment on how shadows are turned off. Your face becomes the light. Wherever you're looking at it becomes the light. So whatever face is facing you is bright white. The others have this fall off shadow depending on how close they are to hitting that face light. So as I come around, the face facing me is always white. Some people don't like that. They want that to everything to just be its true color. And you can do that by turning on shadows, dropping your light, and then taking your dark up to about 80, like I said. And that'll give every single face pretty much its true color, regardless of the actual light from the shadows. All right, that totally makes it impossible to show my next thing, so I'm going to put that back where it was, get up around 80 here, and then drop that back down somewhere like that so we get some good shadows. The final thing is we do have the ability, of course, to get real-world shadows. So right now, this, like I said, this is not geolocated. This is just dropped somewhere, somewhere in the time zone, mountain time, standard time minus 7 hours. But if I wanted to see realistic shadows for this, wherever it's going to be built, that's where using add location to pick out where this is going to be will actually give me accurate shadows. So if I said I want to put this in, I'm just going to put the town, I'm going to put Longmont, Colorado, and sure, we'll pick this location, wherever that is. Ooh, that's not very, doesn't look like a very nice part of town. Maybe we'll drop it over here in this field. Okay, so if I set that, and I don't even have to import anything, right? So I can say, yeah, that's good. That's all I want. Let's see where my model is. Okay, so there it is. There's where my house is. Okay, probably want to move that over a little more, actually, get that house off there. Anyhow, that's all I have to do. So once I do that, it's now geolocated. I don't have to import any context or anything like that. So if I look at it, now my shadows are based on, see this little geolocation button right here tells me exactly where it is. So now I know that these lights that I'm seeing here, this is what it's going to look like if, what are we at here? We are in May. Yeah, sun stays up a little longer. So May goes through the, yeah, afternoon. Yep, that's the way comes in. So I can actually get accurate. This is not just the sliders trying to figure out what looks best. If you geolocate, you're getting shadows based on the actual day and time based on where your model is located. So there you go. 5 tips about shadows that you may or may not have known, but now you do. I know, there's probably some people out there like, I already knew everything about shadows. I didn't want to hear that. And I apologize. Nah, not really. I enjoyed making this video, and I know a lot of people had questions about it. So if you're one of the people who already knew everything, it's just a recap for you. Nothing lost, right? A couple of minutes. But it's quality time that you and I got to spend together. Anyhow, I hope you liked that video. If you did like it, go ahead and click like down below. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. We create several videos each and every week, and you'll be notified of all of them if you subscribe. But most importantly, please leave us a comment down below. Is there another function or feature in SketchUp you would like to hear my top tips for? Or do you think we should do another deep dive into a specific tool? Or is there a thing, a specific geometry that you would like to see created? Or maybe an extension we should highlight? These are all great ideas, but we want to know which ones you want to see. Let us know that down in the comments. We like making these videos a lot. We like them even more when showing something you want to see. Thank you.